What's going on, everyone? The Bad Habits here, aka TBH. Welcome to Old Habits Die Hard. On today's show, we're going to go over the Chronicles of Riddick. Who was asking for this episode?
Nope.
No one. Okay. This one fucking sucks. I don't know what to tell y'all. We're no longer doing an episode of Old Habits Die Hard. You know, we're not even going to do an episode of the shit show either. Instead, we're going to do a goddamn crossover. Welcome to Old Habits Shit Hard.
They are a plague that now sweeps through the worlds of man, leaving behind a trail of dead planets and towering icons, monuments to their unholy crusade.
All those poets on all those worlds who spoke of war as such an unsightly thing, they never stood here.
Despite the terrible name of today's episode, I want to thank you all for joining me really early on. Normally on an episode of Old Habits Die Hard, normally we celebrate a movie after it hits a milestone year. For example, earlier this year, The Warriors, that turned 45 years old, so I did an episode of Old Habits Die Hard to celebrate that. When it comes to the shit show, however, I've only done technically 2 full episodes, and that was on Madam Web and Catwoman. Definitely check those out if you like, people roasting terrible movies. We had a good time with those. But what we're here to talk about today is the 2004 beloved classic, The Chronicles of Riddick. According to Wikipedia, the plot can be summed up in one sentence. And I quote, "It follows the adventures of Riddick as he attempts to elude capture and face an invading empire." Honestly, I want to piggyback on what that description was about, and frankly, it's a goddamn oversimplification. Looking back at it, the Chronicles of Riddick, it really should have been as simple as that one-line description. Frankly, you got Vin Diesel as Richard B. Riddick, who, let's be real, this man doesn't really act anymore. I will be the one to say Pitch Black is his best performance in any movie. That's just my opinion. But outside of that, he's really he's a tough guy. He looks cool. He's there to growl and kill people. I don't want to say stay in your lane, but do that, because what is this movie? Pardon me, I have some severe frustrations with this movie. I've been watching this since it came out on DVD way back when, and I wore those goddamn copies out. So a few years later, I ended up buying what's called the Riddick trilogy. And no. This trilogy does not include the third film, Riddick. Nope. The trilogy is the first movie, Pitch Black, this animated feature, which is called Dark Fury, and then you have the second film, The Chronicles of Riddick. At the time, I guess they thought this series was over, but lo and behold, 9 years later, 2013's Riddick came out. And these movies have never set the box office on fire, so to speak. They're middling hits at best. They're more of a cult film. Pitch Black is something I wish I could see on the big screen. I know the CGI and the 2000s editing hasn't aged well, but I love Pitch Black. This second one is migraine inducing, okay? You know what? Stop the review. Vincent Diesel, if that's your real name, I don't know who the fuck you think you are. But you're not, dude. These are not operatic films. This is not a saga. It's just a sequel. Please tone it down once you hit your 60s at least, because there's only so much I could take, man. And I realize how ironic that is when I have fucking Fast X right behind me. Shut up. Remember the simplicity of the first film in this series, Pitch Black? Now called The Chronicles of Riddick, Pitch Black? Yeah, it's fucking stupid, but do you remember how simple that film was? When it came to plot, that film knew exactly what it was. It literally opens with a crash landing on a foreign alien planet. We have a bunch of civilians on board. And then you have fucking Riddick, who's, on every wanted poster in the galaxy. It starts off with, we're just trying to stay safe from Riddick. And then it turns out this fucking planet we landed on isn't desolate. It has this, terrifying species of alien, that I don't even know if there's a name to them given within the film. It really just turns on its head. You expect it to be a little more grounded, and then they introduce these elements that widens it out. This film, they just, good God. I just watched this yesterday, folks, so I'm still recovering on this one. It's too ambitious for its own good. It saw Pitch Black and it just took a 180 completely. This one goes for ambition. And it's very unfucking fortunate. This one really tried to do, chapter 2, the further adventures of Riddick. And then it just really backfired. Editor, make sure you take that other shit out.
Nope.
Make me look good, okay? God damn it.
Nope.
Water down my beard. Alright. In case I didn't mention this earlier in the video, I am playing the animated second film in this original trilogy. Yeah, no one saw this. It does not matter. It's inconsequential. Don't watch it. You don't need to. Unless you like anime, then sure. But, you're not missing too much. Alright, I've been shitting on this film the entire time. Let me think of some pros here. Not the very beginning of this film, but once we're reintroduced to Riddick, on that ice planet, he's got the beard, the long hair. I gotta say, there was some really cool shit in that intro. They really set up the fact that, yeah, he's a badass. Go figure, it's fucking Vin Diesel. He can't even lose fights in his movies anymore. It's a whole... Oh, this man is... He's a running joke on this channel. Back in like 2022, 23, I feel like he was making an appearance in a bunch of unrelated videos just because he's a goddamn character. And I'm talking about the man Vin Diesel, not Riddick or not Dom Toretto, just Vin Diesel. Yeah, I'm gonna have to come back to you on the pros. We need to get into some plot shit. So if you saw Pitch Black, you know that Richard escaped that planet with Jack and Keith David's character. I believe it's pronounced Imam, and I could be fucking that up, and I do apologize. Unfortunately, in this film, they give him SNS. If you don't know what I mean by that, it means Sacrificial Negro Syndrome. Frankly, he's the one black character, and he's just there to die. Anything we had going on in that previous film, it's just not there. He's only in the film for like 15 minutes at most. And then you have Jack, who now goes by the name Kira. First of all, happy Pride Month, Jack. Any progress they made with Jack in the last film, now Kira, let me use her proper name, the character was really heading somewhere really interesting, at least in my opinion. You can call me woke all you want, but I was really intrigued with this character. But now, it kind of just made her, like a hot 18-year-old. Like, there's a scene in the film where she gets fondled by one of the guards. This movie is filled with great actors. Unfortunately, none of them can really save this film, but we have actors like Carl Urban, Tandy Wade Newton, Linus Roach. We also have Dame Judi Dench. All this talent really couldn't save this turd. Lord Marshall, y'all. When I say that name, does that mean anything to you? No? Have you heard anyone really talk about Lord Marshall? Probably not, because, this dude's generic as fuck.
Convert now, or fall forever.
He leads what are called the Necromancers. Now, if you played games like Halo, for example, you might be familiar with the Covenant. It's very similar to that. They are a superpower in the galaxy and also a religious group. You know, their MO is very simple. Convert and join us or fucking die. The Necromancers lack all subtlety. You know, they don't even try sugar. They go straight to salt. Luckily, we do get a character played by Linus Roach. It turns out that character is also a Furian, just like Riddick. And, you know, throughout the film, you know, he's constantly, you know, showing his doubts in the system that he's under. It's a nice touch, I will say. But this movie can't really commit to a single plot point, you know, a story that it really wants to tell with this one film. Is this a galactic war film? Is this about a prison break on a hostile planet? Is this, you know, an extended chase or hunt scene that's over 2 hours long? Yes and no. Also, it's just, I really don't see where we got lost here. I mean, how do you get from Pitch Black to this fucking movie? Even with the release of this animated film, it still doesn't work. The animated film created more questions, if anything. This is hurting. This is really starting to hurt me. And I used to love this film. I can't believe that I've completely turned on it. It's a huge fucking surprise to me because I probably haven't rewatched it in 5-10 years.
A dark army that will convert or kill every last human life. Unless they can be stopped. But sometimes, the only way to stop evil is not with good. You must confront it with another kind of evil.
You know what? I mentioned a prison break. That is a really cool sequence. Let me get into that. Fast forwarding past a bunch of bullshit that I don't want to get into, you know. Keith David dies. Riddick finds Jack. You know, she's in crematoria, which is a prison planet. It gets to be so hot there. You can just melt by looking directly into the sun. It's fucking horrible. Yeah, take me anywhere but crematoria. That entire sequence, yeah, even though they kind of spread it out, you know, we get Kira, who gets dropped in there early on, and then we kind of just forget about her for a while we fuck off with Riddick and do some operatic shit that I don't know. And that's when Keith David dies. You know, he ends up sacrificing himself for his family. He had like Zendaya or some shit as his daughter. I don't know. I hope they're okay. They don't get mentioned in the sequel. But once Riddick reaches crematoria, that shit is dope. I'm not kidding. From the moment they escape all the way to the very beginning when they're just in the tunnel riding to the main entrance, it pulled me in. I love the character Toombs. He's just a bounty hunter who's after Riddick. You know, he's actually introduced in that animated feature, but who cares about that? He's really funny in this one. I mean, he's gross and disgraceful, but he was fun to watch. You know, I gotta be real. Also, the score is pretty memorable. In my opinion, if I remember your score, that's a good thing. You know, some say subtlety is key. Scores mean a lot to me. Generally speaking, a good score is just, I mean, there's no complaints for me. So I appreciate that they just sort of updated and added to the Pitch Black one. They also bring it back for the third film. Solid work there. Back to the prison. At one point, there's what's called feeding time. I'm not really sure what to call these creatures, but they're sort of, you know, like cats, but they have these scales / spikes on them. It's really cool design. Once they're infuriated, they turn red. You know, it's a little on the nose, but cool. I like the design. And also the interactions between Jack and Riddick. Those are actually really well done, to be honest with you. If only we got them earlier, because that's where the good stuff really is. You know, these two characters catching up. You know, it's been 5 years. Jack's a whole new person. I'm sorry, Kira is a literal whole new person. I mean, the character and the actor is just, it's a whole metamorphosis that this character went through, and you know, Riddick wasn't there because he was in hiding, trying to protect her and Keith David. It's a solid story right there. I don't know why we didn't double down on that. Instead, we got people transcending to the underverse, and we really didn't need that. Also, on Crematoria, there's this really cool gunfight. You know, it's not John Wick level. Don't get it twisted there. But I think it's really well done for this film. You know, there's just fucking ash flying everywhere, and it looks horrible. It just looks like a goddamn nightmare. It's like having a goddamn gunfight in Silent Hill or some shit, you know? It does not look fun, but, you know, on screen, I thought it was pretty cool. And then immediately after that, they have to climb these, you know, like mountain/cliffs. You know, although it's unbelievable, I found myself breathing heavy. Like, that was a really tense scene. You know, it got silly at the end there, but, you know, it's cool. But then immediately the next gunfight after that is just, it's so horribly edited and just thought out. It killed all the momentum. I couldn't tell if Riddick was fighting 3 guys or 30. I'm pretty sure they used some reverse footage as well. Look at this shit right here. I didn't mention this already, but throughout the film, Riddick has visions of this Furian spirit guy who's trying to warn him of what happened to their home planet.
This mark carries the anger of an entire race.
I'd cut that shit out, honestly. I would cut every single interaction out. It does not work. We literally stopped the film to do this, and you know, we're not getting to the goddamn planet. We don't get to it in the next film. They're still teeing up the 4th film. That, you know, it's been 11 years. Are we even getting a 4th film? Based on how that 3rd one ended, I don't think I really want one either. After that horrible gunfight I just mentioned, he gets captured, and lo and behold, the one in charge of watching him is the defectant necromancer, who's also a Furian, just like Riddick. Out of all people, you know, to have to watch Riddick, you know, it's the one person who's an ally, an unknowing ally, but nonetheless, he literally kills himself and lets Riddick fuck off.
You remember your home world? Have you met any others?
Others like yourself.
It's not my fight.
Consider it a test.
Even though I've been talking all this shit about this film, I do appreciate, or at least I think we should appreciate, that they tried to branch out. But let's be real, the Riddick universe isn't the Dune universe. You know what I mean? It isn't that much depth to it, okay? Those movies are very different from this. It's been a while since I've mentioned the name Lord Marshall. So yeah, this film has been building up to a climactic battle between him and Riddick. By the time we get there, this film is just really overstayed, you know? I didn't get into Carl Urban and Tandy Wade Newton's characters. Long story short, those two are opportunists looking for the right moment to strike Lord Marshall and take his place. That's it. That's their whole plot line.
Who is this man?
But at the end of the day, the killing blow, it's delivered by Riddick. So everything they were trying for just gets they just fuck off. Yeah, by the time we had Lord Marshall versus Riddick, I was just tired. I can handle a 3-hour film, but this movie is only 2 hours and 13 minutes with credits. It felt like 3 minimum, and I'm trying, folks, but you know, frankly, it is some horrible 2000 CGI. And then the dumbass character Lord Marshall, he fucks himself over in the worst way possible. You know, he's in a room that's, sure, he's surrounded by necromancers and all that, but this fucking dude picks the one direction he shouldn't run into. And he has this ability where he's essentially in two places at once. Dude, anywhere but fucking here. He gets his shit fucked. I just don't care. Kira also dies. Riddick takes the throne. And then we set up for a third film. Oh, man. Whew, people. This was not a fun watch. Yeah, I had some good shit to say about it, and I won't take those away from it, but god damn. If I didn't have those pros, this would have been the first film I would have given my lowest rating to. Luckily, it has some pros, so it's not going to get that rating. Whew. I am hurting right now, if I'm being honest with you. Now, this is almost challenging my integrity as a, YouTube reviewer. Dare I say, integrity. My lowest rating on the scale, that rating is fuck this movie. Luckily for Vin Diesel and Riddick and company, whatever, on the normal scale, we're gonna give it a rating of waste of damn time. There's no way around that. I just did not enjoy myself overall. On the fuckery scale, which is an exclusive rating we can only give on the shit show, which is where we're at right now, in case you haven't noticed based on my review here. On that particular rating scale, there's only two ratings. There's lowbrow, which is bad, and then there's high class, which is good. That's a good bad movie. This is a bad movie, and don't fucking watch it. I will say, play the games. This is what the film should have been right here. It should have been based on Escape from Butcher Bay. There's no way around it. This is this is two films. It could have been. I don't care.
Pop quiz. What's the best movie based on a video game? Pop quiz number 2. What's the best video game based on a movie? Regardless of your answer, do you remember back when your favorite movie released? You could guarantee there would be a video game tie-in. Well, they're back. They're not back at all. Just want to clarify, they are not back. Please stay gone. I got a lot of them. I got a lot of video games based on movies. I got games based on movies and series. We need to talk about these things. I'm done. I'm fed up with this. You know what? This is it. We're going to do the goddamn Chronicles of Riddick, okay? Escape from Butcher Bay. Let's go.
And then you have Assault and Dark Athena, which, remastered this game and has a new campaign. You really can't lose with this one because, it's just a better version of that. The games are dope. The movies, they're really hit and miss. To prepare for this review, I end up watching all of the Riddick films. Dare I say 4, or like 3.5, maybe 3.25. Whatever. I watched all of those in preparation for this review, and I gotta say, it makes me want to review Pitch Black, the first film, and this one right here, Riddick. Without showing my cards completely, those two are at least decent, and I have positive things to say about them. Are they perfect? No.
Are you gonna stop the monsters now?
I am the monster. You're not afraid of the dark, are you?
Whew! Can't believe I'm saying this, y'all, but we finally made it to the end of the video. Thank you for joining me for Old Habits Shit Hard, aka episode 3 of the shit show. Thank you for joining me. I've been the Bad Habits, aka TBH. And I'm signing out, y'all. Deuces!